Hey everybody. Practicing safe streaming this evening. Got my face mask on. Yeah, no, that's not gonna last all that long. But let's get started. We got some stuff going on tonight. I still need to clean my counter, so my office is clean, and I'm happy about that. But I still got some like desk space stuff to sort out. So yeah, I tonight we're going to be continuing to work on the lemon thing that we started the other day. Um, so after I logged off the other night, I promised that I would create a little highlight of what I'd been working on. Um, so I pulled up here, let me quit out of all of the secret stuff that I can't quite show you yet before I open Photoshop, and then I will switch over to Photoshop and the screen so you can see it. Um, Super excited that I've got. Okay, there's the design, and now let's go get the time lapse. So I'm super excited. After the stream the other day, I ordered a couple of last pieces of audio gear that I'm excited to have to be able to use. Um, so that should balance out the audio levels and things should get better. And we're using a new site for music tonight, so hopefully that will work out and be okay. And I was talking to some of my friends that are involved in No System, and one of the big goals is to be able to just play Gnosis stuff in the background, and so we'll be definitely doing that, but not quite there yet. We got some work to do, but let's see, where did the banana go? Oh, there's the banana death. Okay, time lapse. Pulling it up. Let's go to the. There we go. Okay, so I left you on Tuesday night with the banana where we had just taken the sketches that we drew and thrown them onto our three bananas. And so after the stream ended, and let me go ahead and take my mask off. Sorry about that. That's so much better. It's nice to be able to be safe. It's nice to not sound like Shredder. So, tower, desktop, and webcam. There we go. That should be up now. I've got the window up in the corner, so I should be able to see it in a second. Just a second. India scan converter. We got to turn that on. It should pop up. Opening up, and I think we should get it in 5, 4, 3, 2. There we go. Okay, we're back in business. Okay, so like I said, on Tuesday night, we left it with our banana just sort of sketched out on the banana. Took our faces and sort of blended them in, and so I went ahead and shot a time lapse of what I worked on afterwards. I spent probably another hour just kind of working and messing around. So let's go ahead and watch that, and I can kind of talk through what I was doing. So I went ahead and darkened the outlines, and then I created an outline around the banana because this is going to mostly be for a sticker, so we want to make sure that the outlines are clean and it's going to die cut well. I found some banana inside reference, and I started kind of just getting that in. I wanted to get the color in. You're going to see me get my gouache brushes out and start to do a paint over in here. So, I'm just starting to add some shading, and I basically left this in a place where we really need to kind of start adding little bits of texture. We can kind of work across. We'll probably turn on the other layers and just kind of get them to the place where this one is. Let's see. Let's Okay, um, so one of the other things that I did, and I'm just gonna scroll back and pause. So I drew these lines around the banana, and I got rid of them, but I wanted them to be able to just read the perspective of where these face bits were. And just a second, I'm going to send out a tweet to Twitch or to Twitter that we're streaming. Streaming art process again. Twitch. Come hang out. Okay. Hopefully we'll have some other people coming in. So I've got the chat window, and I think the chat window is working. So any of the channels that we're streaming on, we're on YouTube and Facebook, on the No System page on Facebook, and the No Sys Knows page on Twitch. And so anybody who's watching anywhere, hello, thanks for coming out. If you're here, you make the conversation more exciting. So chime in and chat, and we'll say hi, and I'll answer whatever questions I can while I'm working. So I drew these contour lines so that I could see just kind of where the banana was. And this eye was definitely off. You know, and maybe its eye is off. It's a banana after all, and we don't know exactly what banana eyes would look like. But, oh joy, we've still got the YouTube chat issue. Okay, I'm gonna pull the YouTube chat up in another window just so that I can see it if it happens to be there. Slowly working out all the bugs, but it's getting better. It's so much better than it was. Okay, I've got it up. So I think Facebook is pushing, and you know, I can control it over here. I can see it. So anyways, hello everybody. If you're here, wherever you are, I'm happy you're here. And I'm going to turn myself off on YouTube so I can't hear myself, and you can't hear myself a few seconds ago. Yeah, so that's where we're at. We drew some contour lines, we readjusted the face, we painted in some basic stuff, and I'm going to go back and add in a lot of sort of detail to the textures. You know, if we go back and we look at the apple one again, and I can pull that up inside. Here's our apple time lapse from the other day. Well, let's watch that one again. I can remind myself how to do what I do. So at least with that one, I thought it was interesting that I found the photo reference, and then I used the liquify tool to kind of bend that into the shape. So that's not what we're doing with this one, but we may sort of break the banana out of its shell and make the banana a little more skull-like. But I really wanted to keep the shape of the banana as best I could, and so we did that in a different way. But yeah, so we'll hit play again. So a lot of my work is pulling all sorts of reference. You know, I am not a classical illustrator. I probably never will be. So, you know, all of my design, I mean, all of my illustration is definitely just hacks. And so, you know, this is definitely photo bashing illustration. So if you've studied any matte painting, photo bashing gets used in matte painting a lot. But I'm using it for sticker generation. You know, and my goal is that any of the stock that I use, by the time I'm done, you wouldn't necessarily even know where it came from or what it was. And so, again, one of the things about this one specifically was that I was figuring out what the process was for any of it. And so, I wasn't entirely sure what was going on. I was just trying to figure out what it was. I knew that I sort of wanted to have these like dead fruit skull angels. But I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do with it. So you can see me kind of pulling some highlights in, really kind of messing with selections and painting and adding layer after layer after layer after layer. That's one of the things that I feel like I've changed since I did this. I've tried to be better about being okay with, being destructive and painting on the same layer. In fact, a lot of times, and I definitely did this one here, you can see that everything merged together. A lot of times I'll get to a point in a project where I know that I need to be destructive and kind of merge things together. And, I would kind of throw everything in a folder just in case I do need to go back for some reason, even though I never really do. And then kind of create a merged version of the folder. And then I would go from there. And I would end up doing that like 3 or 4 times until I'm done, just exploring and playing with different versions of the design. So I knew that I kind of wanted to have a little worm guy coming out. And man, I really didn't know what that little worm guy was going to be. And I hadn't ever really drawn a worm before. So, for not really knowing exactly what I was going to be doing with that design, I kind of like it. It helped me to figure out what that whole series was going to be. So, we definitely kind of want to bring some of these references in to what we're doing. But you can see if we look really closely, and I can go full screen for a second. If we look really closely, there's not much of that photo texture that's still there. It's mostly painter texture at this point. But having the texture there gave me something to paint over and understand what it was going to turn into. So let's go back to Photoshop, and we've got our 2 other bananas here, and I basically just sort of filled them in. So let's go through and we'll start to do some work. So, and let's figure out where our music went. Yeah, I've got my eye on the chat. So if you are around and you are watching, I hope that you will chime in and say hello if you like what we're up to. Add a follow on Twitch. Love to have you there, or wherever you're watching. So I'm probably not going to say much for a few minutes as I work, but I will keep my eye out for chats and I will answer whatever I can. So let's go ahead and make sure that, let's move our foreground banana to the top, just so that whatever we're working with, banana 2 should be underneath banana 1. Let's relabel this background banana, and then let's label this one midground second banana. I don't want to be second banana. Okay, so one thing we want to do is let's go figure out where the banana reference photo is. So that's down here. So let's duplicate that and bring that up to the top, and we're going to drop that into the second banana. We want to make that underneath the... oh, here's another thing that I did. I went in, and we can clean this up, but I created a selection of the second banana, just so that I don't want to have to create masks inside of the folder. Um, it's just it's a pain, and it's easier to be able to have one master mask that's in the folder, and then you don't have to worry because anything that you do inside of this folder is gonna get masked off by the folder the mask that's on the folder. So we can just go ahead and quickly clean up the second banana. And if we hold shift and click, we can hide the mask for just a second. And let's hit P and bring up the pen tool. And just going to go in and make a better selection. I'm going to come in and paint outlines over this in a second, so it doesn't matter too much, but it helps to have a good base to work off of. If we get bored with this tonight, maybe we'll stop and think about what the music might be for this. One of the things that I got up and running today that we haven't had for the last couple weeks is we have audio coming through on this. So in theory, we should have clean audio. So we could actually pull up Logic and be able to do something in Logic. So I've been working on updating my reel. It's about that time of the year again. And this year I decided to do something different, and I'm really, really excited about it, but it's definitely been a learning experience. There's so much of this no system thing that revolves around music. I love music, and I sort of rediscovered a joy for music towards the end of my time at Rooster Teeth. And no system was a way for me to start to sort of bring some of that into my professional life. And so, I recorded the music for my last demo reel, but, it was just sort of corporate demo music. There wasn't anything super exciting about it. It was fine. I still liked the track, but, it wasn't anything super exciting. But I also love humor, and most demo reels, if you get sent one, you spend like 30 seconds watching it. You don't pay attention. And so, with this new one, I kind of wanted to do something that was really, really outside of the box. And so I'm rapping, which, I have this other philosophy that you should do things that are scary, and this is definitely something that is scary. So my goal for this evening, and we'll see if it happens, I would just love for someone to show up and say something. So we'll see. I'm going to keep doing it regardless because I have fun doing it, but I can't wait for when there's other people hanging out and watching at the same time. It's going to be so much fun. Oh, what? Oh, was I working on the background banana? Okay, I turned on the background banana. That's what happened. There's the background banana. So I think one of the things we're going to do with this that I'm pretty excited about, it's a good thing I hadn't opened that soda, is we're going to go all the way through the process and do the augmented reality on Artivive too. So I'll walk you guys how we do the AR part of this no system stuff, and I'm sure that y'all would like to experience that. It'll be cool. Yeah, it has been so much fun doing this, and I feel like the world, particularly in the AR space, is still so young. Um, okay, sorry, I was just trying to see where the selection ended on this. I feel like we're gonna have to go back at the end and correct all of this stuff. Uh, with the select, with the top of the banana. So that'll probably be its own part of the painting process. But for the moment, just make sure we have a clean selection. It helps if you... Oh, I had the background layer on. Because I don't actually care about that one yet. I care about this one. Okay, so we've got our foreground banana, and looks like we still need to... Actually, it looks like I screwed up the selection on the foreground. Well, again, we don't really care about that stuff at the top, so we don't need to worry about it at the moment. We'll go back and fix that in a minute. Let's go back before we do anything else and just fix the background selection. Okay, let's bring up the background banana. And actually, we don't even really need to do that. All we need to do is create a really rough selection on this side, because we've got a really good matte on this side. So all we need to really do is worry about the matte on this side. And even here, if we just create a rough matte on this side, now if we get our magic wand out and make sure we're on that layer, if we hold down Option and hit it'll turn into the subtract selection, and we've got that side. And now if we hover over our midground banana and we hold down Option, you can see that it has the layer mask. And so now if we hold down, Command, so now if I hold down Command and Option, it's going to turn into the minus, and now that's going to subtract our middle matte, and now we have a clean matte around the background banana. And so you can see that the background banana matte is not particularly clean, so let's delete it, by making sure the white is in the background, and then we're going to hit Shift Command I, and that's going to invert the selection. If we hit X to put black in the background again, now we've got a clean matte. And we are good to go. So now let's go to our midground banana and let's create a new selection. And we can go in and we can start painting that face and figuring out what we need to do. So I have been using, so I've got Brushbox, and I don't know if you guys do a lot of illustration. Brushbox is one of those things that is supposed to be really useful. I haven't figured out how to integrate it into my workflow yet, but I've heard it's really cool. So in the meantime, I just sort of have to remember what my default pens are, and that's not the greatest way to work, but it's worked okay. I feel like I want to go through at some point and just make collections of the brushes that I do use. Although, having to go look and explore, you know, I'm a digital hoarder for lack of a better term. And so, you know, it feels like I'm discovering new stuff all the time because I forget that I own something. And I go and just like, oh, you know, some of that is probably having ADHD, but yeah, it's like that joke about Alzheimer's. Just like the greatest thing about Alzheimer's is you meet new people every day. So I'm going to draw the outlines on this, and then I'm going to go back and we'll draw the contour lines for the banana. Although I might do it the same way I did the last one, where once I started to paint in some of the shading, it helped me to really be able to see where the contour was. So we're going to hold down R, and that's going to allow us to... I don't know if you use these, but they're spring-loaded folders. Spring-loaded folders are excellent. Or, sorry, not folders, but the spring-loaded... sorry, I logged into Twitch for a second to see what was going on in the stream manager. Da, 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 da. Let's add some tags and see if we can get some people to pop in. Working on emotive bananas. And talking, chatting. Okay, and the emotive banana episode. Okay, we'll see if anyone shows up because I changed the description. It would be great if they did. Hey, we have a second viewer. Thanks for coming out, whoever you are. Unless that's me and I accidentally hit play again. So I'm working on a series of illustrated fruit with faces, and we're working on a little set of bananas that all have different emotions on them. So we're just in the process of painting those. And I'm coming in and doing some outlines. These are going to end up eventually being stickers. So I want to make sure there's a strong outline on them. They're definitely more illustration and less painting. So, you know, if it's a painting, you're not going to lean on line art as much. But we're definitely leaning on line art on these. I'm still going to kind of minimize some of the line art if I can. And I feel like sometimes I use line art as a crutch. Yeah, and then I do these goofy little teeth. Let's go in and draw some teeth. So I like having smoothing on. Sometimes, though, I feel like I turn the smoothing on too high. And particularly for something like this, I need to turn it off because I really need a fluid line. Maybe one more. So I'm going to give away a fruit sticker tonight. We have a couple of the fruit stickers that are made. So if you chime in with a follow or a comment or something, and then email me at gnosis@gnosis knows after the chat, I will get you a sticker. But you need to follow. Okay, I don't know if I love those teeth on the bottom, but we're probably going to end up changing it. So, you know, it's fine for the moment. But and I still have my eye on the chat in the background. So, okay, I need to. So the thing that we discovered the other day that still holds true is we need to create a layer outside of our layer to be able to do the outline for that fruit. So mid-ground with outline, because we don't want our outline masked off. You know, right now our mask is for all of the art inside of the banana, but we need that little bit on the other side. So I have a bad habit of, well, not a bad habit, but I tend to, I tweet at, I reply to Jorge Gutierrez every so often on Twitter because I really like his Twitter account. And so he was talking about how Paddington 2 is a better movie. It's one of those sequels that is better than the movie that it came from. And both of the Paddington movies are really wonderful. If you haven't had a chance to see them, they are worth checking out. Probably some of my like favorite movies from the last couple of years, and they're like really, really good, like just sort of feel good movies. You know, like not chicken soup for the soul type movies, but you know, they're the movie where whenever you see it on, you're tempted to just sit and finish watching it. Give that a little outline, and come in here. Give it an outline on the bottom. Come in here and darken up this outline. Boom, Oh, we need a stronger outline in here. Actually, let's go to our foreground banana, because this is really the domain of the foreground banana. And this sort of yeah, there we go. So one of the things that I sort of want to do is to make sure that although so one of the things I'm trying to figure out exactly is I know I need to come down. I know I need some outline around here. But as it comes down to here, I feel like this area right here is actually kind of cutting in to the face. So, if we were looking at this from the side and say this is the banana, this area is going to be cut out and open. And so, if we were to have a line going across like this, that's basically like drawing a line here like that, and that wouldn't be right. It's open. So, we need to kind of paint that in a way to be able to sell that. So, we'll figure that out. I think that's going to be one of those things that when we come back and start doing more paint over after we get this roughed in, that we'll be able to kind of, that's going to be one of those like final details. But that's the kind of thing that I tend to get really anal about sometimes is just sort of thinking about how structure like that would work. Okay, let's bring our brush back up. And how many of y'all feel sort of calm when you paint? I really like the way that I feel during a painting session. It's sort of interesting to get into the rhythm of talking and painting at the same time. But yeah, slowly getting there. I think we're going to need to play with those outlines a little bit, but let's go to the background banana and just get the rest of it kind of like roughed in, and then background banana with outline. Background banana sounds like you're extra in a movie. Well, I decided to get into background banana work. Somebody needs to set dress the grocery store. Why not me? And it's a man in a foam banana costume. You see that? Kind of makes me think of that. I posted an Instagram story the other day with this time lapse and added. Did you ever get into? There was a punk band in the 90s that were in the Christian scene. They broke out a little bit outside of it too. They were called Goaty Hook, which was a dumb joke about how goatee phonetically could be pronounced fish because of how weird the English language is. Still waiting for that first chat to come in tonight. Who will it be? Or will it be anyone? I will continue to talk to myself and talk to the people in the future who later find this video. So if I ever die of exposure, maybe someday someone will come back and watch this and they'll go, oh, that's what happened. That's what went wrong. He could have been saved before it was too late. It's like when you're watching a horror movie. Don't go in the room. Don't go on the stream. Man, the other night, I don't know what the deal was, but there was issues getting the stream up on YouTube, and then just sort of dealing with that, like really sort of like, I was also tired, and I was having a really hard time with the stream the other day, and I think you could see that in the sketches that I was doing of the bananas. It just, I am not good about going to bed on time. I'm a night owl, and if I get out of the rhythm, it can be really difficult to kind of get back into the rhythm again. So when I do, that starts to lead to getting sleep deprived a little bit, and then your performance suffers. And not in a performance anxiety kind of way. One of the things that I think I am curious about doing is I think I'm going to give them eyeballs, but trying to find a photo reference on Google Images. But my daughter has a habit of, like, when she's eating a banana, sometimes she will stick a finger in the banana and leave it with an indentation. And I think that's going to be our eyeballs. So also, I've been surprised as I've been looking at reference the number of images. I think it was Unsplash, when I was looking at Unsplash. But the number of images of bananas with condoms on them. Maybe it was Pexels. Lots of exciting bananas. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But one of the, you know what? Let's do one Pixabay. Let's see if it pops up here. Some of these places are like the Wild West of stock photos. You know, even though they say it's Creative Commons Zero, I don't trust anything on them. Maybe something where I'm gonna like photo bash the hell out of it, so you don't need know what's there. Um, well, that's sort of so. I think something that's interesting that I kind of want to reference a little bit. If we look at this one, let's go ahead and download that. So one of the things that I think is interesting is look at the ridges on his mouth. So he has lips, and he has gums too, which is kind of disturbing. Also, like, what's going on with the rest of his like circulatory system? Just like the anatomy of this banana does not make sense to me. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm confused. Probably not something I need an answer to. Also, okay, here's one more question that I don't understand. How does this work? How, you know, does does this like wrap around like a dress around his or her, I suppose. Her there, for lack of a better word, their feet. I don't understand cuz like one would think that it looks like this seam connects on the backside, but then this drapes down behind the legs. I don't know. I'm overthinking this. There's way too much thinking going on with this banana. So, anyways, looking at it though, there's a little bit of elevation on the lips, and I think that's something that might be worth sort of keeping in mind. Um, okay, this is not the way to do this, but okay, that's disturbing in its own way. But I created a mask. Probably need to feather it out, but okay. So if we get the puppet warp, let's just sort of bend that into position. Create a couple more puppet pins. That song's kind of tasty. As corporate as it is. Sort of feels like something that would be on Binging with Babish. Man, I love that show. Have y'all played with the new warp that got added to Photoshop in the last version? It's so cool. And I love that you don't quite have to draw in the extra lines if you don't want to. Okay, that's super disturbing. I don't know how I feel about that. Um, I feel like that's almost like the sex doll of anthropomorphic bananas. Yeah, that is unholy. Okay, let's uh okay, well, they're not all winners. So, let's go back now and add a little bit of paint to this to kind of match up what's going on. Well, I guess let's also turn off the background and just focus on the middle ground for the moment. Okay, let's create a layer. And I think we're ready to turn off our sketch. So, I sometimes I'll leave it because I like a little bit of the sketchiness in there, but a lot of times, once I've got some cleaner lines, I'll turn off the rough initial sketch. Okay, sorry, another tweet. See if we can drum up some more people. Okay, we need a couple more lines. So we forgot to draw the top part of this, and actually this one needs some. We need some better outline on this side too. But let's start here, and let's just work on the mid ground for a couple minutes. And then we'll go back and draw those contour lines. So if we go back to this layer now, and we created an empty layer, and then let's go and we're gonna go all the way up to let's mess with some different gouache brushes. So it wasn't until a couple years ago that I'd even sort of had the opportunity to paint with gouache. I didn't even really know how to pronounce it. I don't know. I don't know why I got scared of sort of illustration. You sort of think that you're one thing sometimes. It's like, oh well, that's not the type of thing that I do. Music ended up sort of being the same way with that for me. I don't know why. I loved music, and then I sort of put it away. 3D was like that too. Sort of put that away, but that, and maybe music is the same thing, and that one of the reasons I put it away was because at the time it was so hard to record. I wanted to be recording music, but your option was like a Tascam 4-track, which is cool. And, there's something like old school and neat about that. But, man, it's so much more fun and easy to be able to, use a DAW like Logic, and the amount of power that you have, it's so incredible. Let's make sure that our brush is set to multiply so that we're getting a little of that gouache-ness. I feel like I'm going to cheer whoever ends up leaving the first comment. I borrowed a camera for this project and I need to pass it on to the person who's going to be shooting something with it next. And they mentioned they're coming tomorrow, so I don't have to take a break. Let's try editing our stream once more and see if anything wonder if we switch to let's try the just chatting category and see what happens. We'll see if anyone comes in. And we're so yeah, so we do a movie night on Friday nights, hanging out, because what else are you going to do during the pandemic? And so last week we watched Spirited Away, which is cool. And tomorrow night we're watching probably one of my favorite weird animated films. And it's got a great sort of klezmer-ish, gypsy-ish score called The Triplets of Belleville. So sort of, I put together this this month's playlist based on things that just sort of weren't happening, and so there's not really any Tour de France in July this year, and Triplets of Belleville is a movie all about the tour. La Tour. So yeah, so I'm excited. So tomorrow night we're going to watch that. And then let's go in and add some white. These lines actually are probably going to be too thick. So also, wow, our opacity is way down there. So one of the things I love about gouache is how forgiving it is. Unlike watercolor, because it's so opaque, you can go back and fix things in a way that you can't with watercolor. Not that you can do it perfectly, but it works better than you would expect. And digital gouache isn't quite like that, but you still get some of the feeling of it. So I'm trying to kind of just create a little bit of a, to show like this is kind of falling off into blackness. Although I feel like we should maybe take that and move that fall off point down, because there's some perspective. So yeah, maybe if we take this and yeah, that's better. Hey, we've had 27 views now. That's pretty cool. So do y'all see the thing about artists on Twitter the other day, talking about the number of social media follows that you have, and people, exposing people for art, and got into long conversations about how people get their work and what the value of social media is. And it was one of those things where Twitter actually proved itself useful for a moment. I feel like too often, Twitter has just become an echo chamber, and no matter what side you're on, there's no way to really feel like you've won. It's just an anger factory. But it's stuff like that, or stuff like my friend Robert Cargill does a lot of tweeting as at Massworm on Twitter, giving writing advice. And that's another one of those things where, like, okay, that's a great thing about Twitter, is just access, or like being able to see Jorge Gutierrez talking about stuff, and being able to chime in. I've made a lot of friends through social media, and I've gotten a lot of opportunities. I wouldn't say that my career is specifically where it is because of it, but it's certainly played a pretty critical role. That banana is starting to come into. I'm feeling like I'm going to need to kind of merge this in a minute and start painting on painting over the outlines, because I'm gonna kind of have to need to blend everything together in a way that it's not blending together right now. But bit by bit. Also, I can see there's a really strong sort of outline on that banana where the center point of the banana is. So that's another thing that we need to kind of paint back in. And not that I'm confident, but I feel like as I've been painting more of these, I've gotten a little more confident at sort of looking for shapes and figuring out how to. And I watch a video of someone like Cynics on YouTube, or Lowish, and they're so confident. And I guess I have areas in my design life where I'm more confident, but and they do it all the time, so they should be more confident. Oh, that is way too dark. So that's interesting. Maybe thin that out a little bit. Okay, there's definitely still work to it. That one is definitely looking more rotted than the other one. And, they're connected together. So even though I want to make sure that the color is a little bit different, they should still feel like they're part of the same banana. So maybe I'll get rid of some of that shading. And then we'll come back in on the other side and paint some back in. I feel like there's probably a little white highlight point on there. And I don't have a banana in front of me, so I can't pull up some photo reference, but this would be a really great opportunity to go look at how bananas are lit. My guess is that the specular on a banana. Hey, out of curiosity, let's go to Safari and just search what is the specularity of a banana. I don't know if anything's going to pop up, but oh hey, well here's a. Okay, so looking at this lighting reference, and actually, wow, there's more useful lighting than I thought there would be. So, this is a great photo that we can use for reference. Where did it go? Okay, well, you can see that there is a hot point on it, and our lighting seems to be coming from this direction. So let's grab a layer, just move it up on top of everything so that we can doodle. So our lighting's coming from this direction, so we're going to want to make sure that we're hitting some shadows in here, and I'm left-handed and I'm mousing right-handed, so apologies for my handwriting, but we'll want to make sure that there's some shadowing in there, and there's going to be some ambient occlusion in here from that area between the two bananas, and so that's something that we're going to want to paint in. We're going to want to figure out how to create more depth in here. Looking at the time lapse, like that was one of the things that I really struggled with in this one, was just figuring out how to convey, like looking into the nose cavity of the skull and how to sell that depth. And I still feel like that's something that that I haven't quite figured out. But yeah. Just a second. I'm going to send one more Slack. So yeah, so you can see here, like I'm not super confident with what's going on there. You can see that I'm trying to kind of paint it in, trying to blend it together, but it's not working super well. Let's search smushed banana. Or squished banana. That's... I like that coloring. We might use just a tiny little part of it. Not the whole thing. We're not going to steal the image. That's sort of interesting. Yeah, so one of the things that I think we'll do, hello, whoever just came into the room. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Done. So here's the middle one. Here's the one in the background. We drew some outlines, and now I'm in the habit of sort of painting. Well, now I'm in the process of painting in some of the initial structure around the bananas, and we're talking about art on social media and all sorts of various and sundry things, like the anatomy of these bananas. I don't understand. I still don't understand exactly how it's supposed to work around the pants. Because, like, you know, assuming that this person, this banana, I don't even know if there is gender in the banana world. But, you know, assuming this, is this a dress? You know, how does this work? Because there's no leg holes for this banana peel. And is the leg made out of banana too? So it's banana. So if you were to leave that banana leg exposed to the air, like I just don't understand. So I've been trying to figure out how this worked. I probably don't need to think about it all that much. Hello, OCD Smurf. It's good to see you. Thanks for logging on. Man, it's been a long time since we've talked. Things are going well. And you know what? You have earned yourself. You've earned yourself a sticker. So I will. I'll ping you afterwards and get your address. So what have you been up to? How have you been doing? I want to say the last time we talked, Banana and World of Gumball. You know, I've watched World of Gumball, but it's been a long time. So. Okay, yeah, you know, so this is, yeah, so this reminds me of, definitely like some claim. It's not exactly what we're doing here, but that's kind of, it sort of reminds me of some of the stuff that I've seen done with Adobe Character Animator, or like more specifically, there's a claymation series called The Rotten Fruit by shoot, the guy who did Hostel and Cabin Fever, Eli Roth. Eli Roth did this series called The Rotten Fruit. It sort of reminds me a little bit of that. You can pull it up without any audio. Although maybe not. Anyway, that series is worth pulling up. I guess there's a little bit there. Oh, hey, their banana is very similar to that other anthropomorphic banana that we were looking at. So if you want a really disturbing animated fruit series, The Rotten Fruit is worth seeing. I don't know if I would say Eli Roth is good. I think he's more chaotic evil than good. He's an interesting individual. Emphasis on interesting. I spent a little bit. I've been at festivals with him. Like I don't know him at all, but like I feel like when I've been around him, it's definitely been one of those things where I feel like there's chaos that follows. But it's a festival and there's alcohol and everything, so I'm sure that plays into it. But okay, let's go work on our background, get our background banana cleaned up a little bit, and then we can start kind of merging all of these three things together before we log off. Is interesting is right in your wheelhouse. That makes sense. Um, yeah. What? Well, okay. So one thing that I do think is really interesting is did you get a chance to see Eli Roth's children's movie? Because he did a kids movie, like actually, like one of the most recent films that he did was a kids movie, which really weirded me out when I found out that he'd done a kids movie. But he did the movie the House with a Clock in its walls, um, which if you paid attention to any of the marketing, did not mention at all that it was an Eli Roth film, which I think is kind of hilarious. Um, but but yeah, so yes, he's become a children's movie director. Um, I think he's still doing horror stuff, but actually, let's go check IMDb and see. So it's a movie about this warlock played by Jack Black that lives in a house that apparently has an evil clock inside of it, and his nephew comes to live with him, and they have to battle the clock. I guess. Um, I actually haven't seen it, but it looked really interesting. But I know my daughters watched it with my wife, and they liked it. So, um, house with a clock. But they definitely marketed it as if it were tied into Goosebumps, because it was another movie with Jack Black in it, and yeah, so they market. Even if you look at this poster for the movie, like it sells it more like it's sort of something. Uh, I mean, it sells as kids movie. There's a little bit of like Wrinkle in Time image, sort of like color in there. There's a little bit of definitely the Goosebumps vibes in it. Um, but yeah, so anyway, sort of interesting. But Kate Blanchett, Jack Black, and apparently Kid Owen Vaccaro. I don't know what he's done else. He's done. I wonder if Vaccaro is it Owen Cow, or that's Vaca. My Spanish is not great. Vaccaro, Cowman, something. I don't know. Yeah. So directed by Eli Roth. Let's see what Eli Roth has been up to. Producer on 1031. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it's Halloween related. Uh, so merging the images, basically what I was talking about is, I've got this illustration, and right now, the way it's broken out is, I have the kind of three layers of things. And so, I've got it broken apart just so that as I'm doing the base of these things, it's a little bit easier to sort of paint behind. Like, say I need to paint in here. I want to paint in some shadow, and I know this shadow needs to sit behind the middle banana. By having everything sitting in a folder underneath that, it's just much easier to come in here and, say grab my black brush and come in and kind of paint like that. So, that's really kind of all I meant by merging. Um, and then we also talked about how I've got um, I've got an outline folder. So, my folder's set up so I have an outline here going around the sticker because it's gonna be a sticker. So, if you look at Awesome Merch is where we get our stickers printed. So let's just go look at some of their printers, the stickers. But stickers are meant to be graphical, so you need sort of a clear idea of how you would cut it. and I like to be able to have an idea of how how the outline is gonna read inside of the little white extra bits. So I've kind of left the outlines around the edges a lot stronger. So, and I know that I'm actually going to need to go in and make them even stronger, because if you look at this here, the key parts of the banana, or the key parts of this bowl, have a thicker outline than the spoon. But you know this outline here is definitely thicker than any of these outlines. So let's go ahead and just take this layer, and we'll make this our paint layer. And so now let's kind of go in and we'll do the coloration on. Let's bring our opacity down. Man, thank you so much for coming out tonight, because it makes it so much fun, so much more fun to be able to sit and talk with someone while I'm doing this. Nobody wants to hear me talk to myself every time. Did I ever say that you're my hero? Oh, don't want to get any copyright. Okay, so we're going to need some yellow on this side. Kind of brighten that up. So OCD Smurf, for those who are watching later, is a friend who is part of the Rooster Teeth community, and I met back in the... have we met in person, or we just interacted on social media? I want to say that we met at RTX. But everything blurs together. I've become an old man. So I've got multiply on, which is nice, because as I'm painting, it lets me kind of... sorry, I actually don't have... I don't have multiply on, but I dropped the opacity down so that, I can be a little more gentle with how I lay down color and shading. And I don't want to be too gentle, because I feel like a lot of times digital painting, and I've definitely ended up in this situation where just everything's too smooth. And, I'm not trying to create something that's smooth. I'm just trying to create something that feels painterly and, like an illustration. I think I might try and bring these noses together a little bit more too. And also we still need to... oh, we didn't even draw some teeth in. We need to go draw some teeth. So let's go back to our outline. And we'll go till probably 10 o'clock tonight. It would help if I have a black, and turn our opacity up. So, Mr. Smurf, what have you watched lately that has been particularly exciting? Any TV that you're getting really excited about? How is your end of the world gone? I feel like this one in the back is sort of like... all of these are sort of like minion bananas in a way, and not just because they're yellow. I feel like they have sort of minion-y faces. I saw that a local animation studio that did a really worked on a really awesome series last year called Undone. That if you haven't watched it on Amazon is worth watching. Announced that they started working on Rick Linklater's next movie today, which also has Jack Black in it. Looks like we lost one of our friendly viewers. OCD, if that was you, I'll see you soon. Thanks for coming in. You made it a much more exciting evening. Let's go figure out where our music went to. Da, da, da. Ah, your phone died. Well, welcome back. Yeah, I forgot if we had met in person, so you can feel good that it feels like we met in person. It does look like you have a different screen name. Although, I will say this. I appreciated it because it reminded me of your first name. Not that I'd like forgotten it. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And just you know, sometimes recalling facts at the front of my mind is it's not always fast, particularly when I'm looking at the screen at the same time. Man, it's been so much fun getting the office kind of put together into a little studio, and really surprising at just like how doable everything is. I'm excited. I'm getting a compressor limiter sometime this week or this weekend. So next week's stream should sound even more radio-y. I think that should be it for gear for a little bit, but I just really want to make sure that I can kind of control the noise in here. I don't know, like it's one of those things where I probably don't need to worry about it, but I want things to sound good. So when I was at Rooster Teeth and I would meet people at RTX, and even at work sometimes when we got too big, I would always, there were always like sort of, not nicknames, but general like, I would just play, dude, it is so good to see you. How are you? I feel like we haven't seen each other in a long time. Man, thank you so much for, so anytime you were sort of interacting, like, because I would do that because, I didn't want to be unfriendly, but like a lot of times it really was just my bad memory. And I would meet people like at RTX, even as someone who wasn't particularly popular. You would meet a lot of people and it was just like, I'm sorry. I don't remember your name, but I never wanted to like say that. So yeah, I'm still in Texas, still in the Austin area. Yeah, I mean, we never moved to Austin to work at Rooster Teeth. I moved to Austin because I wanted to be in Austin. Even before, like, when we moved here, it had still already, been a popular place to move to. But I mean, it wasn't what it is now in terms of like, oh my God, it's the mecca of whatever. No, we just wanted to be in Austin. So, it was cool when I worked at Rooster Teeth. I was happy that I had a production job, but it had just as much to do with just being in Austin than it did with working at Rooster Teeth, which really weirded out some of the people who like that was their dream in life, was to work at Rooster Teeth. And so when you're like, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy to have a job, but you know, whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean. It's not that it doesn't mean that much to me, but it's not what it meant to them. Uh, he's talking about a friend who used to be the social media person at Rooster Teeth, and Caleb, after he left, moved to St. Paul, which is where I'm from, and that is exactly why I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't follow him up there. It's just, I don't know, man. I love the Twin Cities in ways because it's where I grew up, but you know, familiarity breeds contempt on some level. And also, man, my seasonal affective disorder, and I think, one of the things, we haven't talked a lot in the last couple of years, but last year I discovered that I have ADHD, and I never knew. I somehow made it to 40 without knowing I had ADHD. And there have been all sorts of things that play into that were like very revelatory. I'm like, oh my God, how did I not know that this was affecting me in that way? And one of it was, things like seasonal affective disorder. Have a much, there's a lot of comorbidities, where if you have one thing, you have a much higher chance of having something else. Yeah, I don't know that it was. Yeah, I mean, I think it was bad for some, but yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. Um, it took me a long time to get over some of that when I left, but um, that was weird because, like, in some ways, I definitely was sad when I left, because I wasn't going to get to do some of the things that I really enjoyed doing, but was also very excited about other things. And, that was definitely one of the things that I never quite bought into. Um, the dream in the same way, particularly the hype. Um, I don't know. It was interesting. So OCD and depression, yeah, they definitely suck together. One of the things I've discovered recently is, because of, wow, we're up to 4 people. Holy cow! Thanks for joining, everybody. Um, One of the things that I've discovered, with coronavirus and the whole 2020 garbage year is that if you're particularly stressed about life, um, it can impact how stimulants work, which I had no idea. So there's a Twitter account that I follow called Evil Mopac. Mopac's one of the main freeways in Austin, and I love, the idea that one of the freeways that I predominantly drive, because we live on the west side of Austin, has a I don't have a keyboard, so that's why we're having two separate combos. No worries, dude. I'm happy that I have a way to talk, so I can draw and type. Um, but yeah, I discovered that apparently stimulant medication, when you're under a certain amount of stress, can stop working or stop having the same effect, which sort of, it kind of sucks because it's just like, wow, that could actually make the stress worse. And one of the things that I particularly was thankful for, one of the things that caused me to go get a diagnosis, was that I would be trying to focus on something, and my brain would just hop between things. Like I'd be trying to do this thing, and it would be like, oh man, I know I need to do the thing. But oh hey, there's that thing over there, and not quite squirrel, because it was almost faster than that. It was just like, and it was like my brain couldn't decide what it was going to lock on for the moment and work on. So you can imagine that, being in under the stress of something like COVID, suddenly having your medication that helps you sit down and focus during the day stop working kind of sucks. So and some of that can be exacerbated by sleep, and it's summertime in Texas, and so even if you have AC, houses can be hot, and and so all of a sudden, life was normal-ish, as normal as this year's apocalypse can be, and then you sort of not spiral off, but it's just interesting how all of a sudden, things add up. So I feel for anybody who's going through stuff this year, because it's just, I think this is going to be one of those years where when we get to December, we're just going to be really happy to be done, and we're all going to be super hopeful that next year is just better, and I think it will be. I hope so. I have faith that it will be. Yeah, these guys are they're not done, but they're definitely headed in a better direction. I haven't saved in a long time, so I'm gonna save. And then let's get rid of these random layers that we drew earlier in the episode. Okay, so now I definitely need to start to kind of merge these together and do some painting over the top of everything, because these are not totally gelling. So let's look at some more banana reference. I was lucky for most of COVID because my wife was here for just gone camping. Yeah, so one of the things that's been weird for me is I work from home. So I generally don't go anywhere anyway. And to suddenly be going out even less than I would normally go out was a pretty big shock to the system. So you think the eyes are off? Yeah, I could see that. I want to rework. I think we could. So one thing I didn't do that we should do, is we didn't do the contour lines on the other two bananas. So maybe we can do that quick, and we can just figure out how our layout is working. So let's go in and got a new line, and let's grab some white. And doesn't really matter what kind of brush, but we'll grab a pencil just for the heck of it. Okay, so we're going to draw some contour lines so that we can do a better job of figuring out how this stuff is sitting on the face. Just be a different color. Well, there's definitely some shading that's going to... So here's a couple of the things that are bugging me. So on this one, I appreciate that it shows the... I was trying to kind of sell the idea of the inner part of the banana peel. So that's something that I think I still want to kind of... I know I need to bring that in here at the very least with adding a little bit of color like this to try and sort of represent the fiberiness. Because, right now, this banana part on the top feels like there's no depth separation between the two things. I want to add some more color kind of around the edges to sort of show that there's a little bit of a specular highlight around the lips. So like there is a little bit of a lip. I need to add some shading and sort of dial back the outlines in the teeth. And I want to thin out this. There's not a balance between the outlines in the eyes here and the outlines in the eyes here. And so, I'm going to kind of continue to paint in there. But I also think that I want to reshape the eyes a little bit because I'm not, one of the things that I was trying to do with specifically the three different bananas is I kind of wanted them to be reading three different emotions. So like they were having, three different emotional reactions to something. Sort of like the monkeys and like hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. It's probably very highbrow for banana art, but a man can dream. A man can have hopes and dreams of a world where people are accepting of. Yeah, they'd be the same. Yeah. No, you're right. They'd be the same white. One of the things I was saying, I don't know if you were here yet when I was talking about it, but I think I want to kind of reference the idea of like putting a finger in a banana, and you get some of that sort of darker coloration that pops in. So I'm gonna try that. Yeah. And this may even be reading too dark. I only know that because my daughter plays with her food a lot, and sometimes she'll just start squishing her banana, and so it's just talking about it from that context. I don't know what you're poking a banana with or what you might be referring to, but this is a family show, Mr. Conover. Okay, it's not really a family show, but it is sort of family friendly. There's no American Pie with a banana, and honestly, how would that work anyways? Because bananas aren't that big. They're more phallic than anything else. And even that, I don't think I would recommend to anyone. Okay, so we've got those drawn. glad that I'm amusing you. I've done my job for the evening. Tell your friends. I'll be here every Tuesday and Thursday night from 8 to 10 Central. And who knows, maybe even the odd Saturday. But right now we're doing 2 days a week. And we'll see how it goes. Okay, so one of the things that I saw in because the grid, and this is why I draw the grid, is it really helps you to see where things need to be. So, we can see that the perspective isn't quite working, and that's one of the reasons that it probably isn't selling the way that we would want it to. And these eyes are going to be rolling off the side, so, we're going to have a little bit more perspective on this side. There's going to be more of it. Okay, that's a little ganky, but okay, let's go tweak the nose a little bit. I wonder if we take these eyes and make these eyes way smaller. I've been trying to kind of draw elongated skulls so that they would fill the face better, but I wonder if it might sell a little better if these were smaller. This is so much of like an investigatory thing at the same time. Like, there's no right answer. Yeah, I could draw regular and stretch. Yeah, so I like to sort of play with liquefy and warp sometimes, just to, I'll go back and redraw over it. But sometimes I like to be able to kind of, messing with it sort of helps me to figure out. I don't know. I come up with different solutions than I would if I were just drawing. And then other times I come up with better solutions because I was drawing. Like, this isn't working for me. I feel like all of the eyes are going to have to be closer to the same height. Although I think I might take these and make these a little smaller so that we're kind of standardizing on this set of banana eyes. touched by a banana. The very heartwarming tale of 3 Siamese bananas stuck together for life. They just want to be eaten, but no one picks them up at the grocery store. It's so sad. It's a tragedy. A tragedy in 3 acts. Yeah, that's feeling better. Let's go back to our top banana. We're definitely not going to finish this tonight. I think we'll be working on this next Tuesday when we come back to streaming. But that's okay. You know, we're not going to get it all done at once. I'll probably continue to work on it a little bit before then, although I'm working on some other stuff that I really need to get done too, including freelance work. So that all takes precedence. But now that I've got audio working, we can continue working on the short that we're working on too. So all sorts of things that we're going to be doing in the stream. I can't wait to record music with people, and I'm really hoping that I'll be able to use the chat to kind of drive where we go musically as I'm writing music for this No System project. And you know, really, this is just, you know, I started streaming because all of these projects that I'm working on take so much time that, you know, this is a way that we can kind of show some of the process. And I am making a short. And, you know what? Before we log off for the night, I think that maybe, so this is an early demo of the music. This is the orchestral version of the music, and I'm working on another version with Ben Worley, who does a lot of music for Red Giant, and is a composer who lives out in Los Angeles. Yeah, maybe let's play some music and we could talk about some things that I've been working on lately. So the short that we're making is called Win You When You Lose, and it's sort of based off of Schoolhouse Rock, and it's about design contests. So so this is not done, and I need to sit down and we're still working on the vocals for it. So I'm trying to remember what's even in this one. But here's Ben's music combined with some of my music. This is sort of the halfway in between version. So it's a very kind of 1970s thing that we're working on. Okay, next week I need to color correct that light so it is not nearly, sorry, I'm looking up at the TV, seeing all of the little things that I want to keep tweaking. So here's some of the music for that one, and then again we're in the process of re-recording all the. Still working for the men. Why don't you make a bet on yourself? Start out something that speaks your mind, or make some change for somebody else. The world really needs your voice, and not the blue chip stocks. So take the chance to start again, and leave the chasing flocks. Or we're something they should pay. A sucker's bet, hip hip hooray. Still working on finding some of the energy in it, but that's that. And then the next song that will be part of the same series is called F You Pay Me. And this one's still developing, but a desperado, and payment was his claim. He knew the terms were set at 90 for the start, and now on 91 his megaphone. This will be bigger and more westerny, but it's all going to be. I'll show you some of the posters that I'm sort of looking at in reference. Here comes the chorus. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You pay me, fuck you, pay me. So that's an old bounce. It's actually kind of developed past that, but there's a whole lot of stuff to do on it. And opening it up, there's all kinds of orchestra samples, and so it takes a long time to open up. Here's the other dumb thing that I did that's going to tie into, there's this whole fruit series. We've done there will be like 5 or 6 of these different fruit face skull things by the time we're done, but there's one that we never finished the animation for, the AR portion of, and so we wrote this dumb song. I wrote this dumb song the other day that is gonna go with that. So here's Fruit Salad.
Fruit salad. I like fruit. Yes, I do. I like all the fruit. Give me the fruit. The fruit is for me. I'm going to have the fruit salad. Eat it up now.
So that's Fruit Salad. So anyways, well, thanks to everybody who came out tonight. Josh, I will send you a DM afterwards because I owe you some stickers because you're the big winner tonight. Although I would like to think that we all won. So, come out. We'll be back next Tuesday. Like I said, we stream Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 p.m. to 10 Central Time. And we're going to keep working through this stuff. And hopefully people will start coming out and hanging out and chatting. And we're going to be doing some design. We're going to be doing some animation. We're going to be doing some augmented reality. We're going to record some music. It's going to be cool. It's going to be fun. And I love hanging out with y'all. So anyways, thanks so much for coming out, and we will see you guys soon. Have a good night.